Hey, this is Delemus and Mac Ruiz, and we're going to watch Tom Macdonald's video, Fake Woke, and like and subscribe at the bottom.
All right, here we go.
I think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard, but if I mention race in a song, I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's backwards, it's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom, and now he doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. We're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it, cause you have the right to hate it and not get stoned to death in public. As children we were taught how to walk and talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture runs the world now, the planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association.
There's that division he's talking about, and that division is Tom's on it, is divide, 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 divide. And no matter which way you go, there's another, they're jerking you another way, jerking you from one position to the next. And even the threat is, even if they can't use the force of law, then what happens is they use the force of money, currency against you. And it's almost like when Russia would have a dissident, is they'd send them off out into the frickin' gulags in Siberia, right? And this is what they try to do to anybody who doesn't toe the line of whatever the culture.
Yeah.
It's
a digital or a cultural gulag now instead of a physical one.
That's right. Yeah, that's a great definition for it, because it is, and as long as we tolerate it, which Tom isn't, he's coming out and he's speaking out against it, very frankly, but as long as we tolerate it, it'll continue.
Yeah. And just to help Tom out here, I know that a lot of the Hangover Gang watch this and many other people, and we get a lot of our subscribers now from them. Tom just released Friday 2 new albums, Renegade and Revolution. Go and check out his albums, get them, support the artist, because we need more people that are telling the truth, that are independent and telling the truth. He's not beholden to big studios. All right, here we go.
You're racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes got Me Too'd or they're rapists. They never freed the slaves. They realized that they don't need to change. They gave us tiny screens. We think we free because we can't see the cage. They knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame.
That is an important note. That slavery never really ended. It changed. It's a different picture now, right? You're tied to your screens.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, is it you're tied to your screens? You're beholden, almost not even less like a slave, more like a serf.
Indentured servant.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say like a serf, because your kingdom is whatever political party right now you're lined up with, or whatever victim group you're lined up with, and you will serve that group. You will die to serve that group. It's voluntary, which is even worse, right? Because at least slavery, you could argue, is not voluntary; it's slavery. But in the case of like serfdom, you're kind of choosing to be there a bit, and you're willing to live and die by it.
It's a tough road to hoe, because freedom takes effort, and it takes energy and sacrifice to defend and to protect. And when we're afraid that we're gonna find ourselves in one of those gulags, that either the corporate America or the woke have set up, because our opinion is different than theirs, and which makes us intolerant. So their tolerance is going to cause us to go into that gulag, because we're not tolerant. So they do the very things that they accuse us of.
Right.
And when we tolerate that nonsense, is we're giving away our freedom. And they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and they're encroaching in your space. There's that 18-inch area that when you're talking to a person, you're supposed to keep about an 18-inch. I think it's 18-inch area,
Mm-hmm.
and it's for that personal space. Well, they're right in our face. They're right in our face, and continue pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually, we're going to push back and just say, hey, get out of my space, and you're wrong, and you can have your opinion. I believe it to be wrong. I can have mine. Maybe you believe it to be wrong. Get out of my space.
Right.
And because if we don't, we're going to end up in that gulag.
Yep.
We're going to if Tom and more people like Tom, more people don't follow along and come out and be as outspoken as he is, as we'll end up in that gulag, because they'll just keep shutting doors after us, on us, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah, dangerous.
Knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings. I think it's crazy how these people screaming facts, but they fake woke. Hate their neighbor cause he wears a mask or he stays home. Has a daughter but his favorite artist said he slays hoes. Picks her up from school, music slaps on the way home. Censorship's an issue cause they choose what they erase. There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. I think Black Lives Matter was the stupidest name, when the system's screwing everyone exactly the same. I just want to spend Thanksgiving Day with food and my family, without being accused of celebrating native casualties. We got so divided, it's black and white and political. Republicans are bigots, libtards if you're liberal. There's riots in our streets and it's just getting worse. Y'all screaming deep on the police, y'all are genius for sure. They're underfunded already, they're way too busy to work. Order food and call the cops, see what reaches you first. Segregate.
Oh, yeah, it is interesting that he touches on the right and the left, if you will.
Mhm.
Right there, if you're a conservative, right, you're you're a racist, but if you're on the left, you're a libtard. And but he sees right down the middle of what's happening is that they're screwing both sides.
Yeah.
And are both sides going to be smart enough to say, hey, you know what? It's like, actually, if you just picture this, a team of horses, that were wild Mustangs, and then they make a team, they catch two of them and they make a team, and they have them pull the wagon. And they keep one of the horses leads, one of them follows. As long as they're willing to pull that wagon, and they're distracted enough, they put blinders on them, right? Whip on their back, they'll pull that wagon. But if they just stop,
Right.
Stop pulling that wagon. Stop pulling it. And we need to stop pulling that wagon, because we're funding the very things that are attacking us. Our money is going to those things that are attacking us. And then they use this to divide us.
Right.
They separate us by race, by finance, by party, political affiliation, religion, on our faith. And I tend to want to persuade more somebody that why I believe what I believe, versus grabbing them around the neck and choking them, or go, hey, I'm going to take something away from you if you don't believe what I believe. And I'm only telling you what I believe because I think it'll help you. I think it's better for everybody. But if you prove to me that I'm wrong, and what I believe that's not in fact going to help everybody, then let me know. It's like the Democrats, is when they say, oh, well, we love the kids, and every time school budget comes through, oh, we love the kids, but yet they support abortion.
Right.
And then say, well, what about those kids? Well, they're not really kids. Actually, they are. And then how about okay, let's go to slavery. How come it's the Republicans who are the racists and hate the minorities, when in fact the Ku Klux Klan came out of the Democrats? The president that actually, which I have some problems with Lincoln too, that was a Republican that led us through the Civil War, which was part of that battle. Not the whole thing was on racism, but slavery, but to stop slavery. And it's ridiculous. And we've just got to be smart enough to pay enough attention and go, hey, or am I better off with these guys? I mean, these guys were promising me these things. Am I better off when they're there, or worse off when they're there?
Right.
And go to Detroit and go into some of those communities. They're still selling houses for $1,000, $10,000, because it looks like freaking Nagasaki after we dropped a nuclear bomb on, or atomic bomb on them, and it's so drug infested. How those guys been with all the Democrat leadership they've had for decades? And how are they with the Democrat president or Democrat? Are they getting better off? I mean, is that whole process that they're selling them, is that helping them?
Right.
And which, or freedom, the ability to be able to raise yourself up by your bootstraps, if you will, is the way you get out. And get out of poverty. You get out and you work out, and you get out. And but if the people in the inner cities are taught that white people hate them if they're black, or if you're white, that black people hate you, or Mexicans hate you, whatever it happens to be, and we buy into that nonsense, because I've had in-depth conversations with people of almost every race, cartel guys, Mexican mafia guys, all kinds of guys, and some of them really wanted to better their lives, get away from that nonsense, but they bought into the lie.
Right.
And they bought into the lie. And you can talk to some of them and make sense to them about, wow, this is just not true. This is actually, I was on the wrong path. There's another way. There's a big question for any of them. Are you happy?
Right.
I mean, are you happy somebody went by your house and sprayed it with an AK-47? Are you happy that your brother died of drug overdose, or that you're hiding from the cops all the time because you're dealing, or I mean, are you better off? And and we've just got to realize that we're all human beings, we're all people, we're all citizens of this country. I mean, those who are here illegally, obviously. And what do we do to make it better? How do we stand against it? And do we let, as Tom's talking about, them keep us divided with ignorant arguments? So just ignorant.
Yep. So. Here we go.
You first. Segregation ended, that's a lie in itself. That was a strategy to make us think they were trying to help. They knew that racism was hot if they designed it to sell. We buy up every single box and divide us ourselves. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings. We use violence to get peace and wonder why it isn't working. That's like sleeping with a football team to try and be a virgin. Politicians are for sale and someone always makes the purchase, but you and I cannot afford it. Our democracy is worthless. If a man has mental illness, call him crazy, say it silently. When country's going crazy, we accept it as society. Get sick and take a pill. When the side effects get you high, you get addicted like these rappers dying fighting with sobriety. Censoring the facts turns our children into idiots. They claim it's for our safety. I'll tell you what it really is. Removing information that empowers all the citizens. The truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate. They're trying to change amen to amen and women. How'd we let them make praying a microaggression? Instead of asking God for the strength to keep winning, we cheat to get ahead and then we ask him for forgiveness. Feminism used to be the most righteous of fights, but these days it feels like they secretly hate guys. I don't trust anyone who bleeds for a week and don't die. I'm just kidding, but everything else that I said is right.
Oh, you can't say Tom is woke. And, yeah. Well, I don't know anybody else would say that. And of course, he makes a correction. If the left goes after him, they'll never give him his explanation of that he doesn't believe it. That's all they would play. And, yeah, he's hit the nail on the head. Well, the nails on the head. if you will. Unfortunately, a lot of those nails are nailing us in our coffin, and we're keeping ourselves entrapped, giving up our freedoms, giving up. They make us afraid, or they at least try to. Some of us. That's certainly not Tom's not working with, but to express our opinion that it's gonna be unwoke, if you will, or unacceptable to society, and then we're going to be called a racist or a whatever. And well, why can't we have our own opinion?
Right.
And why? I mean, why? I mean, if what's the determining factor of who can have an opinion? Their own opinion. And I mean, the communists, they used to make all their citizens wear gray or brown uniforms, right? They all dress the same, so they were all the same. And this wokeism is a step in that direction. Yeah, I think the masks are a step in that direction for even for COVID. Is if you don't wear the mask, then obviously, rebellious. And there used to be a movie out in I think it's in the 60s or 50s. It was an old black and white horror flick, and it was the invasion of the body snatchers. It was remade, I think, in the 70s or 80s. But they would take the body and the space aliens, right, and then they would cocoon it and wrap it, and then it would actually kind of replace the actual human, and they were trying to take over, colonize Earth, but whenever they saw somebody who was actually a human who hadn't been cloned, they would all make this terrible screech, all of the ones who were cloned, right? And then they would chase them down and then snatch them up and then clone them up. And that's kind of what's happening is if you're an independent thinker, you want the truth, which Jesus says, right? The truth will set you free. You want the truth is then you become an enemy. And I mean, it's a very dangerous place for us to be in, where we don't stand on foundational truths. Just in common sense. My grandmother used to say horse sense, that we don't have the even horse sense where we can make a common sense decision on anything. We're waiting for a nod or an approval from somebody else.
Right.
And if that's the case, is that we're not even individuals, and we're certainly not a republic.
Right. All right, here we go.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know they won't tell me what to believe in. They so fake woke. Same old safe zones. They so fake woke. Facts don't care about your feelings.
And shout out to Nova Rockefeller, his girlfriend, on creating the video. Great job always. Yeah. There we go. Tom Macdonald, fake woke.
I wish he would learn to express himself. He's so shy. I mean, I'll try to send him a message, but maybe on Twitter or something, and just ask him to break out of that shell he's in.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, here's our reaction to Fake Woke. Tom Macdonald's new albums, Renegade and Revolution, are now out. Go pick them up. Support the Hangover Gang like they support us. And like and subscribe below, comment, and see you guys on the next one.
Think for yourself.
And think for yourself.
Your opinion matters.